Greetings, everyone. Well, it's Wednesday, and that means comic book update time. Yay! Or, well, comic book anything, really, because it's Wednesday, new comic book day. But, yeah, in this case, we're doing an update. Surprise, surprise, because we haven't done those in at least a week. Alrighty, well, we've got quite a few to go through. I've got quite a stack here today. This is stuff that I basically picked up over the past probably 3 weeks, so I've got a bit of catching up to do. I know for you guys it's been pretty consistent with the updates, but truth be told, I actually went on a bit of a comic book binge a couple months ago and got so much stuff I decided to just kind of spread it across several updates. So this is all the stuff I picked up since. So this is about 3 weeks worth and possibly a full month's worth. Anyway, some pretty cool stuff. Let's get to it. Comic book update time today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Alright, so let's start with the singles here. So, first up, picked up issue number 2 of Gem and the Holograms Infinite, which is, of course, part 3 of the Infinite storyline, the 2 interconnected miniseries. I thought that there were more issues in this out now than there actually were because of the, what is it, the, yeah, here it is, the release checklist in the back, because it says releases on sale in July, but they're calendar, I think, is a couple months off. It's now the beginning of September. Picked this up at the end of August, so July actually means August, I guess. So I don't know. I'm very confused. Their calendar doesn't seem to make sense. Anyway, also picked up issue number 22 of Invader Zim. Always good. Good times. Really good, by the way. If you enjoyed the show, definitely check out the comic. And picked up the second last issue of Mask. It actually says right in the back here, where is it? To be continued. Oh yeah, here it is. Next issue. It all ends here. See? It all ends here. That's it. It's ending. So I don't know what's going to happen with Mask, if they're going to kind of do what they did with Micronauts and have like a spin-off series that continues it, or if it's just going to be, you know, strictly the characters crossing over, making guest appearances in the other Hasbro universe stuff. I don't know. But apparently the main series is ending with issue 10, so we'll, I guess, find out what happens after that. So next up, picked up ROM number 12. Awesome stuff. There's a second trade paperback of ROM out now, by the way. I may or may not pick those up just because I do love me some ROM. And it does, of course, have a lot of the alternate covers included as a bonus. And it'd be a nice reading copy as well. Not to mention the fact I still have not found issue number 9, so that may be my only option there. I don't know. Next up, speaking of spin-off series that continued after the regular series was canned, we have Micronauts Wrath of Karza, number 4. I think number 5 is the last one, actually. Let me just see here. Yes, it says to be concluded at the bottom of this page. I don't know how well you can see that. So I guess that's going to be it for Micronauts Wrath of Karza. Where it goes beyond there, who knows? Maybe both Micronauts and Mask are getting canceled. I don't know. We'll find out. And next up, we have issue number 16 of Scooby Apocalypse. Very cool stuff. And as I was mentioning, Scooby Apocalypse, I thought, was the only one of the reimagined Hanna-Barbera stuff to survive. Well, apparently not, because Future Quest has come back with Future Quest Presents. And this is issue number 1, Space Ghost. And this is much like the original Future Quest, where it actually does feature other characters as well. Like, for example, there you go. But, I mean, look at this artwork. This artwork is incredible. It's all beautiful painted artwork. Like, this is really, really awesome, actually. So, yeah, pick this up if you're a fan of the old you know, the old 60s and 70s action-adventure characters, because this is really just giving them to you again in the most deluxe form possible. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right, next up, I saw this one on the shelf and originally was going to pass on it, but I took another flip through it and took a little flip through the second issue and thought, you know what the heck, let's check it out. It's from Titan Books, and they've been doing really good work with the Doctor Who comics. So we have Robotech, issue number 1. Now, the thing that kind of puzzled me at first was I flipped through this, and I was just like, well, this is just the story of, like the original story. But, I mean, look at the frickin' artwork. It's fantastic. It's gorgeous. And, yes, this is the original story, sort of. It's basically a kind of updated and slightly retooled and slightly reimagined take on the original story. So it's I don't know what you call it, like an alternate version, updated version, what have you, of the original Robotech saga. So I don't know if they're going to do all 85 episodes and readapt them and stuff like that. But so far it looks like actually a pretty interesting new take on the classic story. So if you're a fan of the original like I am, might be worth your while to check this out. And the second issue is out now as well. So this one actually seems to go, it's not exactly like the old, say, Comico adaptations, where the Comico Comics ones would do one episode per thing. But this one actually seems to cover up to episode 3, Countdown. So it's got Booby Trap, Space Fold, and Countdown all kind of smushed into the first two issues. So there we go. You can see the cataclysmic space fold from within the atmosphere that rips Macross Island out of the ocean and takes it with them into space. So it's all the familiar stuff, but just a slightly different take on it all. So pretty interesting stuff. Definitely looking forward to seeing where they go with this. And the artwork is just phenomenal. It's just beautiful. All right, so that is it for the single issues. Next up, we have a whole bunch of trades that I picked up. Got volume 2 of the Golden Age of Batman. So this one contains Batman numbers 4 through 7, Detective Comics, the Batman stories only, numbers 46 through 56, World's Best Comics number 1, and World's Finest Comics numbers 2 and 3. I'm guessing the first issue of World's Finest was called World's Best. Anyway, just give you a quick look there. As you can see, very pretty as always. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Gotta love it. So this is about 500 pages worth of stuff here. We got 413 pages. There you go. And if we just take a look in the back here, you can see they're doing editions for a lot of the classic DC stuff. Golden Age Superman. They got Silver Age stuff coming out. They got Justice League, Green Lantern, Batman, Flash. They've also got Wonder Woman. They're doing big collections like this for all the major superheroes. So it's much like how they were doing the Chronicles comics a few years back. By the way, I made a slight mistake. Last time I said that they did about 8 volumes of the Chronicles. Well, that may be so for some of them, but for Batman, they actually did up to volume 11. So, as I think I may have mentioned last time, this Golden Age and Silver Age series are being published in 2 forms. There's the oversized Omnibus Editions, which are about 700 or 800 pages apiece, and then there's the trade paperback editions. So essentially, one omnibus is the equivalent of 2 trade paperbacks. So the trade paperbacks take half the contents of one of the omnibus editions and split them into 2 volumes. So right now, just to give you some idea where they're all at, the Batman Omnibus, I believe, has Volume 4 coming out soon, so that would be the equivalent of 8 of the paperback versions. So the Omnibus editions are quite a bit ahead. I did also pick up Volume 3 of the Golden Age Batman trades. I prefer the trades, personally, because they're a lot easier to read. A little more comfortable to read in bed rather than having the big lap-breaking omnibus editions. Also a little bit cheaper. I guess collectively they cost about the same as the omnibus editions. It's just a matter of which format you prefer. So with the omnibus editions so far ahead, there is a volume 4 of the paperbacks already on the schedule, I think, for early next year, which will take us up to the end of Volume 2 of the Omnibus Editions. So I'm hoping that they keep the paperback ones going. I'm going to keep buying them as they come out. But it's always a bit of a concern when they got two concurrent editions of the same content. Is one going to get so far ahead of the other that the other can never catch up? I don't know. Yeah, so I think the Golden Age ends like in the 40s, and they're already into the 40s in the Omnibus Edition. So I would assume, you know, the Omnibus Edition would be like maybe 5 or 6 volumes for the Golden Age, and then we'd be into the Silver Age stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep buying them as they come out. I mean, already as far as the Omnibus Editions goes, they're ahead of where the Batman Chronicles books were. The Batman Chronicles books were about 120 or so pages. You know, just one of these paperbacks is like the equivalent of 3 of the Chronicles volumes, pretty much. So, so already we're up to like essentially volume 8 or 9 of Batman Chronicles here, with just 3 trades, and we've already got a 4th one on the way, which should take us past where the Chronicles left off. Cool. Anyway, enough about that. Next up, as you know, I'm a huge fan of Mike Grell. Been loving his take on Green Arrow. Sadly, only 1 volume left, and then all of that will have been collected together. But there was some stuff that he did before that kind of making a name for himself, not the least of which was he was one of the first sort of big-name creators to really jump into the creator-owned indie comics world back in the early 80s with a company called Pacific Comics, and they published a 6-issue miniseries called Starslayer, The Log of the Jolly Roger. Now, a few years later, the original 6-issue miniseries was published as a director's cut edition, in which Mike Grell went back and fixed up some of the artwork that I guess he wasn't happy with, made some changes, added some stuff, and it's basically considered the definitive version of the story. I should mention also, Pacific Comics did the original 6-issue miniseries. It was a huge success. And then First Comics, another independent publisher, actually picked up the rights from Mike Grell and continued Starslayer as a regular monthly series for about up until like issue 31, I think, or thereabouts is when they stopped it. But so Mike Grell did the first 2 issues of the regular series as well, and then it was taken over by who the heck was it? Tim Truman and John Ostrander took over. Also 2 now pretty big names in the comic industry. Back then, they were kind of just starting out, and they were really honored to be able to take over this Mike Grell written and drawn book. So, anyway, this book contains all 8 of the Mike Grell issues, which actually, the 6-issue miniseries didn't fully resolve the story. It was actually finally resolved in issues 7 and 8 of the regular series. So this actually does give you a complete, you know, the complete first major story arc, which Mike Grell did. And if we just take a little look here, you can see, I mean, the artwork in this is just phenomenal. So this is written and drawn by Mike Grell. So you're getting like 100% pure Grell here. It's just awesome, awesome stuff. So basically, this is the story of a Celtic barbarian who's ripped out of time and taken to the far-flung future to help this mysterious woman and her mission of essentially trying to save the galaxy with a spaceship called the Jolly Roger. So anyway, really good stuff. Grand space opera in the classic style. And if you're a big fan of Mike Grell like I am, there is much to enjoy there. Great story, great artwork, just great stuff all around. So next up, I picked up a few more Vertigo comics, just kind of adding on to several series that I'm in the process of collecting. Picked up Volume 5 of Fables. So this is The Mean Seasons. Yeah, so good stuff. I haven't actually had time to sit down and read these since I've been picking them up, but I'll get to them eventually. I figure in the meantime I'll pick them up as I happen across them and have, you know, 20 bucks I can spare, and just kind of keep building the collection. Because I mean, I know I'm going to get around to them eventually, so I might as well collect them now, and then I'll have a whole bunch to read. Kind of like what I'm doing with this series here. Picked up Volume 4 of Preacher. Now the plan here is to get all 6 volumes and then probably sometime after Halloween is over, sit down and just, you know, read the whole darn saga. So there you go. So picked up volume 4 and... or book 4 rather, and book 6. So this is the final book. So I still need book 5, which I know is around somewhere. It's just the local comic store didn't have it. I'll check around some of the bookstores that carry trades. I know I've seen all 6 volumes of this around everywhere. They just didn't happen to have it in stock at the local comic store. So I got what they had, and I'll pick up the other one whenever I find it. So there you go. Good stuff. And then after reading all the comics, that's when I'm going to watch the show. Which I think has just finished its 2nd season, so, or is just about to finish its 2nd season. So, yeah, cool, good stuff. So, quite a lot of stuff, as you can see. Some singles, some trades, all awesome. Gotta love some good comics. Alrighty, well that is it from me to you for now. Hope you enjoyed this week's update, and we'll see you next time. So big thanks to you for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors for being Patreon sponsors. Always appreciate the support. You're helping to keep the dream alive. And we'll see you next time. So until then, sayonara.